Looks a little dark out because it is. Wanted to get going today because, as many people have pointed out to me, when I made my video the other day, like, Anthony, you should check the weather before you go to Ohio. It's going to be bad. And I don't mind snow and snow and snow, but when it's going to turn to pouring rain tomorrow, we're not going to be able to qualify our horses in the pouring rain. It's just not going to be possible to qualify Granite Hill. And it's not fair to those horses. Mama knows best. I'm a lovely lady. It's really not fair to those horses to train down and then, oh, by the way, let's qualify in the slop. And quite frankly, when it's going to switch to rain and rain that much in the afternoon, apparently from my weather app, I don't even know if they'll go to qualifiers, will they? I don't know if they'll be able to go to races. When we've gone, to say that there's no frost, there absolutely is frost in the track now with the amount of ice and snow that has come down over the last 10 days. So, they may not be able to race tomorrow at Northfield Park. And quite frankly, tonight it looks like it's going to be warm all day. There's going to be frost coming out of the track. I, I guess it. I'm not going to go to Ohio. I mean, Aaron Merriman does not have a drive in Locatelli. We'll talk in a minute. In Tour de l'Indy's race. Doesn't have one in there, so there's a driver that'll do just fine for us with Tour de l'Indy. I wish I was there. I really wanted to be there for this horse tonight, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. You factor in not being able to train tomorrow morning for the most part, not being able to qualify the horses. What am I going over there for? Just to drive Compass Rose DC and Steve's horse late and then take Steve's horse home Thursday? I mean, I'll talk to Steve. He had bought a horse, Dragon something, Scarlet Dragon, and we were going to race it tomorrow night, had the 8-hole, and then bring it home after that for him. I mean, realistically, Doyle can bring his horse home. Aaron Merriman can drive the horse tonight. And tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen. So, I mean, I'll keep an eye on the weather over the next... I wasn't supposed to race till the 12th race tonight, so I have lots of time to make up my mind. I have till mid-afternoon to decide if I'm going to go or not. But, man, it just seems like a lot of things could go wrong for not a whole lot of things to go right in Ohio. So, as I sit in my car right now at 6:55 in the morning here at Tamiko Training Center getting ready to go, I don't know if I'm going to go to Ohio. That's some nasty weather coming. Like a ton of rain and then immediately followed by a bit of a short freeze and a ton of snow. That is really crappy. So I don't know if I'm going to go, to be honest. Now, with that out of the way for now, we have some staking that was done. End of last week when I was in Jamaica. And I know I'm going to have a number of people ask me. There was 4 or 5 horses I paid into the Swedish Breeders' Crown, and a lot of people are going to say that is a complete waste of money. No, not for what we're using it for. These are horses that I would imagine, if they pan out to be as, well, hopefully as good as we hope they will, a lot of European people would be very interested in them. Strong bloodlines, as of right now at least, no hobbles, got big, strong bodies to them. These are the types of horses that, partway through their 2 or 3 year old year, you start getting phone calls for, right? We had sold, even though he had hobbles, if you guys remember, Lincoln Hanover, we sold him over in Europe for quite a bit of money. And I suspect having 2 or 3, it might be 2, 3, 4, whatever, horses paid into that Swedish Breeders' Crown, maybe even more enticing for someone in Europe, right? These are, I believe, their Breeders' Crown goes into the 4-year-old or even later season, or later in their career. So we did. It was a $580 payment, one-time payment, I believe, that you don't have to pay it again, at least this year, for that Swedish Breeders' Crown. So it made sense. Obviously, we're trying to think bigger picture, but at the same time, stay frugal. The infrastructure, the bare bones of what we're trying to do in February for staking is in there. We also are going to make that payment for the Mohawk Millions. Also, we're going to buy a spot there. What else do we got going on? And I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Now today, the reason I'm up this early today, it's not that I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's that we got to train today. Weather is all, not just in Cleveland. Keep in mind, a lot of what they get, we get, and we are going to get dumped on here also. So as the day goes on here, it's going to warm up. It's going to switch to rain overnight, and then freeze shortly after that. So it just, looking at the weather the way I see it, it's impossible that we're going to be able to train tomorrow. So let's train today. So I know the caretakers were a little pissed at me when I got home last night at 8:30, looked at the weather and said, knock, knock. We're going to be training everything on Tuesday. So I got here early to train the 3-year-olds. I literally just texted James. He's not going to be here for a bit. So Amy and I are going to start training the 3-year-olds now, and then we'll go from there. So all the 2-year-olds are training today. I'm going to give you guys a little update. Now, keep in mind, they didn't train last week. Some were castrated, as I said, splints, curbs. This is going to be a really, and plus it was so bitterly cold Saturday, some of them didn't move. Saturday, Sunday, jog Monday, train Tuesday. You do the math. It's going to be an easy training day here in Ontario. Tomorrow's going to be tough. It's going to switch to mud and then freeze again. So the track crew is going to have to be on their feet also, because come Saturday it's supposed to be bitterly cold again. So we're getting some Canadian weather here in Canada over the next couple of weeks, and obviously last week when I was gone away, you did also. Now, with all that out of the way, I'll bring you guys a video of the horses, how they trained today, who I liked, who I didn't like, what they did, what they didn't do. I'll do that later on, but for right now, to start off the day, I wanted to make sure I talked about what went on last night. Obviously, we were super pumped about Locatelli. You guys know, one, he was sick last week. He scoped 3 out of 5 for mucus. So Harry did a great job preparing him for a race 7 days later. So great job by Harry Polton and his burn. The horse just looked good. He's not a first over horse. James knows that. I was a little confused. I didn't know. I thought he'd quarter pole him. I think James maybe decided, rather than tangle with Phil's horse, who maybe wasn't that good, he just drove the horse smart, right? Rather than tangle with this horse clear to the front of the half, let's just leave him alone until we get to the far turn and then take a run at him. Just another smart display of driving by my brother. He did a great job. And the horse raced good. He had to, he couldn't be at 100%. You can't race sick, get this shit kicked out of you 7 days ago in the open, and then come right back and win a race like that. Good horses do that. So good for him. As I said, great job by Harry, great job by Nelly, great job by James. The horse was awesome. White Tiger was about as good as he could be, I think. When you get bottled up and you ask him to sprint hard in the end of it, I think that's what he has in him, right? Had he had the trip that Oni Hall had, who knows? Maybe we're heading to the winner's circle last night, metaphorically. But one of these days, Tiger will get there. He will get them, and he will get there. Happy with him last night. James said, if anything, the hobbles looked a little, just a hair tight. It's always these musical chairs with White Tiger, because if the track's got a good cushion on it, you can let those hobbles out a couple of holes, and if it's got a harder cushion on it, you got to snug them up. The one thing I do note, he still wears the older hobbles. Now, we've made a decision at the barn that, you guys don't know this, but some of the ropes, some of the loops are different on all the hobbles when you buy them, right? So we tried to have, I've made myself all the hobbles over the last 2 months, but Tiger's had been from last year. Now, the ropes in his hobbles, this may not make a lot of sense to you, but it can be a big deal sometimes. Locatelli and White Tiger both wear shorter roped hobbles for big horses than any of the horses here. The ropes, now the way I measure the ropes is because the loops are bigger and smaller and coarser and lighter, from the end of the loop to the end of the loop, almost like a pacing hobble. The hobbles we use, loop to loop, end to end, is 66 inches. So that the rope is included in that. So I would say the rope is 51 inches long, something like that. I'm guessing, because I'm counting the loops that we use. White Tigers and Locatellis are 64 inches. And if you go back and you watch Locatelli finishing up, you can watch the loop. The hobbles look good on him, but as he stretches out, that other loop will come right back to the pulley of the hobbles. Just a hair too short. And it took a long time watching videos and seeing how the wear and tear of the hobbles were for us to realize that 64 inches is too short. They need to be 66. So all the horses we put out on the track now with those blue ropes that you see, They're all 66 inches. So at some point, White Tiger and Locatelli will move to that 66 inches. You might say, well, hold on. They're doing good. Why would you change anything? It's just a matter of doing it right, right? Locatelli can go with a longer hobble. So can White Tiger. Is there a necessity to do it now? No, not really a big deal. Maybe with White Tiger. And that's a horse where they do maybe need to be a little shorter. So I'll talk to James about that today. But I suspect in the near future we are going to switch him to also a 66 inch rope. Now that I say that out loud, I remembered I ordered rope. I didn't see it at the house when I got there, but I did see a mail tag saying we owed $47 in duty for something. I hope they didn't send those ropes back. I'll be very upset. Anyway, that is that. White Tiger, I said, raced good last night. Just about what he could do. Again, keep in mind, he's racing in the Open. Don't ever forget that. So I thought he raced well last night. And then globetrotting. Listen, she raced adequate, but she didn't race globetrotting-esque, right? The globetrotting we've seen the last 4 starts, you'd be like, yeah, she raced okay. Not the globetrotting we saw the 5th start, or the starts where she won in 52 in the States, or the start where I qualified her even in Northfield in 55 with no hobbles on. That wasn't that globetrotting last night. So as I said to James is like, well, we added bar shoes to her up front. Maybe she doesn't like that. Maybe she doesn't like this. I said, James, I think we both need to just step back and take a look at what's obvious. She's not as good as she was. If you remove that win, you got a bunch of mediocrity in there. That win and how incredibly easy she did it and how good she looked really delayed the inevitable, which is to turn her out. I don't know why she would be tired. I don't know why she needs a rest, but she does. I wish she hadn't won that start. She would have been turned out 5 weeks ago. But that's racing. That's the way it is. And regardless of this and that and the tie-up and the GGT, enough. We have a time frame right now to turn her out. Well, the weather's not that great. And we're going to. And again, her and Aglariam, I did stake them a little bit this year. Aglariam is behind globetrotting, but globetrotting never went in 53 as a 3-year-old. Funny, eh? Both high-end speed fillies, mares now. Both will tie up from time to time. So, Aglariam and globetrotting, I did stake. Aglariam is almost ready to go. She did miss a time last week because of the cold. She's pretty well ready to go. Globetrotting's going to go out to the field today. Simba's going to come back in from the field. Little swap later on this afternoon. So rather than head to Ohio 4.5 hours down the road, I may head over to the farm and switch those horses out because it looks like I'm probably not going to get a chance to go to Ohio today. So with that, I'm going to put these little batteries here in my socks that I got. Somebody got me some heated socks for Christmas. I'm going to go train some ponies. So I'll talk to all you guys later on about how the babies went, how I thought they were. I was super impressed. I actually sat in Mexico for about an hour in the day by the, I don't want to get anybody mad, by the pool. And sat there and watched the drone sets from last week. I was really impressed. Really impressed with a lot of horses. Eager to see them again today. I will talk to all of you and touch base with you soon enough. But as I sit here, now 7 o'clock almost, as I sit here in my car getting ready to go, it looks like there's a smaller chance than I thought that I'll be going to Ohio today. Take care.